What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. Happy Thursday to everybody. We have a really good game tonight. The Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals. Finally, a really exciting Thursday night football game. We're going to hang out for the next 25 minutes or so. I will answer any questions you guys have. You can fire them away in the chat there. I'm going to read the player news from today and get us all caught up, and then I'll circle back to your questions. At the top of the morning, we saw Chuba Hubbard sign a 4-year, $33.2 million extension with the Panthers, which made me raise my eye a little bit because they just drafted Jonathan Brooks, so everyone was very excited about. But I think everyone by now really likes Chuba Hubbard. Like, we know he's a quality running back, so I get it, not letting him hit the free agency market. They're going to be a 1-2 running back system probably for the next 3-4 years. This does hurt Jonathan Brooks' long-term value. Chuba Hubbard's not going away. So congrats to Chuba. Pretty cool. Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jags, unlikely to play in Week 10. A little bit weird. He's been practicing today and yesterday, so limited practices. I guess he's continuing to do treatment, and they're weighing options for the future. I think we do have to worry maybe about Trevor Lawrence getting shut down, but for now, they do have a bye week coming up in a little bit. Maybe he plays next week. We'll see. A little bit curious, though, with Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. Baker Mayfield not practicing today. He's considered fine for Week 10. They're just giving him time off. Khalil Herbert expected to play tonight with his new team, Cincinnati. And then Keaton Mitchell, his debut is happening tonight. I don't expect him to get the ball a ton, maybe 3-4 catches or maybe 3-4 touches tonight. Maybe he makes a big play or two. I do like holding on to Keaton Mitchell, though, in dynasty leagues or, deeper redraft leagues. We're still waiting for information on Dak Prescott. He has not been placed on IR yet. They're collecting information, looking at different opinions on that hamstring, but it does sound like we're going to be without him until maybe December. Juju Smith-Schuster not practicing today. We're not using him at all anymore. Adam Thielen still not practicing with that hamstring, so I'm not sure what's up with that. We're going to see Leggett and Jalen Coker be the number 1 and 2 receivers. No Darius Slayton for Week 10 here. He's in concussion protocol. They're not having him travel to Germany. No Darius Slayton means fire up Malik Neighbors, probably Wan'Dale Robinson and Tyrone Tracy. Devonta Smith practicing today after not playing or practicing yesterday. Amari Cooper limited in practice today with a wrist injury. No Keon Coleman. I think Keon Coleman's trending towards not playing. Amari Cooper, though, does have a chance. No Michael Pittman today with a back injury. We know that's what he hurt himself, maybe a few weeks ago, and he's been playing through it. So maybe just a day of rest for Michael Pittman Jr. Drake London limited in practice today. That's a good sign there. Back-to-back limited. He's on track to play after the hip pointer scare. No Tony Pollard today. They're just managing his workload. He's been getting the ball a ton. I expect Tony Pollard to play, but I also expect Tajay Spears to play. No Chris Olave today, DNP with the concussion injury. I don't expect Olave to play this week or next week. We'll have to wait and see for more information on that. Gabe Davis was limited for the Jags today in practice, as well as Trevor Lawrence. They've already ruled out T. Higgins for tonight. A.J. Brown fully practicing, which is fantastic news. Like, he's on track to play. Like, that knee injury scare was just a scare. He's going to play Week 10. And then Dallas Goedert coming back, too, with the hamstring injury. He's basically said he's going to play this weekend. So good news for Dallas Goedert and A.J. Brown, and I guess as well as Devonta Smith. CeeDee Lamb limited in practice today. He says he's going to be fine for Week 10. I think I'm going to probably lower him to like a low-end wide receiver 1. I'm going to update my rankings tomorrow after we get more practice reports. Christian McCaffrey limited in practice. They're basically saying McCaffrey's good to go. They expect him to play in Week 10. So fire up Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel and Juwan Jennings both limited in practice as well today. So the 49ers coming in healthy off the bye. No Mike Evans or Sterling Shepard at practice today. We're not expecting Mike Evans to play. Sterling Shepard has a chance to play. Let me see what else we got here. I think we're all caught up on player news. So without further ado, I'm going to hop in the chats here. Good evening to Harris. Hope you're doing well, my man. And Jerry and Tony as well. Bo Nix or Caleb Williams? I'm pretty scared about Caleb Williams right now, man. He has not looked good since coming back from the bye. He's had 2 really bad games. I'm not willing to throw him out there in my lineup. I think I'm going to play Bo Nix. And even though it's a tough matchup at Kansas City, Bo Nix has shown that he can be useful with his legs. His passing numbers have been looking better. I trust Bo Nix right now more than I trust Caleb Williams. Would you start Pittman or Jennings? In a full PPR, I need to drop someone to play Jennings. Kraft, Darnold are the only droppable. Baker, Ingram are backups, or keep as is and play Pittman. I think I'm fine playing Pittman. If you have to drop one of these guys, I don't really want to do that. I think in a full PPR league, I do expect Pittman to be like a steady low end wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Jawan Jennings still is kind of a boom bust guy. We don't really know what we're getting from him in his first game back. Ricky Pearsall's healthy and out there as well now. So I think you keep it as is and you play Pittman. Towards the end of the week, if Pittman doesn't practice tomorrow or he doesn't play this weekend, you can hopefully switch him out and go with Jawan Jennings. But I'm comfortable keeping Pittman. Mike Gesicki or Pat Frymuth. It's Mike Gesicki, and I don't think it's very close there, Harris. Mike Gesicki has been, when T. Higgins doesn't play, Gesicki is really, he's a top 5, top 10 tight end when he hasn't had T. Higgins on the field. So I like him quite a bit tonight against Baltimore. He's had 2 awesome games the last couple weekends. I'm comfortable with Mike G. And Pat Frymuth just doesn't really offer much upside at this point. You're playing for a touchdown here. Gesicki can at least catch 4, 5, 6 balls in this one with some big plays. And I like the environment for tonight's game. I don't know. There's probably 50-plus total implied points in this game, so we're hoping for a shootout. And yeah, no question there. And we're going with Mike. Pollard or Brian Thomas Jr. half PPR. So I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. gets that big of a ding going from Trevor Lawrence to Mac Jones. It's a little bit of a ding. I think it's more so like of BTJ. He was like a rock solid wide receiver 2 for us. I'm going to ding him a little bit and probably push him down to like wide receiver 3 territory, wide receiver 25 to 30 in that range. But Tony Pollard, on the other hand, and especially in a half PPR, I usually lean towards the running backs a little bit. Now, the Chargers are a very good team right now. They're playing good football. They're not turning the ball over. They're winning games. They're playing really well defensively. So I'm a little bit nervous about the game script here. The Chargers are number 2 against opponent running backs. They held Cleveland to only 7 PPR points last weekend, but teams have had some good games. So I think I'm still going to start Tony Pollard. He's the safer floor, and he's been getting the ball a ton. And maybe Will Levis is back this weekend too. I don't know if that helps or hurts things, but I'm going to go Pollard just because I think he's got a really nice ceiling and a really nice floor. Mostert, Irving, Ingram, non-PPR. I do like Evan Ingram this weekend, but in a non-PPR, you're probably better off going with one of the running backs. I think your move is probably Bucky Irving here. I think Mostert's interesting. He could fall into the end zone, but I have trouble trusting him, whereas I do expect Bucky Irving to be heavily involved in the offense. Again, he's anywhere from 10 to 15 touches. I like Bucky Irving the most. If I'm ranking them, I'm going to go Irving, Mostert, Ingram in a non-PPR setting. Oh, man. That's where we're at with DJ Moore. I'm going to lean DJ Moore here, but if you want to go Leggett, I think I'm okay with it. I think I have DJ Moore as like wide receiver 30-something. Leggett's probably a little bit behind him. I still don't really trust the Panthers offense. I'm just pulling up my weekly rankings to see where I have these guys right now. I think I'm probably going to just lean DJ Moore slightly, even though I don't feel great about it. I do have DJ Moore wide receiver 29 right now with my rankings. I have Xavier Leggett at wide receiver 40. So Leggett's kind of a fringe wide receiver 3 start. Top 3 to 5 QB streamers for this week. If Sam Darnold's out there, I think he's the number 1 streamer for me going, against Jacksonville. That's a pretty good matchup. Justin Jefferson should be able to do what he needs to do. I think Kirk Cousins at New Orleans is another good one. And if I had to throw out one more, I kind of like Daniel Jones. I know Darius Slayton's out now, but it's the Carolina Panthers. It's in Germany. Daniel Jones has been playing pretty well from a fantasy standpoint, so I think he's interesting. Otherwise, I will go Jared Goff. Those are probably my top 4 or so. And if you want one more in there, I'll throw Tua in there. I think that Rams Dolphins game could be kind of fun on Monday Night Football. What do you think I can get at running back for Caleb Williams? If it's a 1 QB league, you're not going to get much. If it's a super flex league, I mean, I really don't know if Caleb Williams is startable in a super flex league right now. So you're probably looking at like a fringe top 30, top 40 running back. If I can flip Caleb Williams for a Jalen Warren, maybe a Javonte Williams, a Bucky Irving type, you're looking at one of those fringe guys that are not quite a must-start player, but offer a little bit of depth. So if you're trying to flip Caleb Williams in a super flex league, you're looking at, wide receiver or running backs in the 30s. I think guys that are not necessarily must-start players. So again, Bucky Irving, maybe Rachaad White, Rico Dowdle, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, those type of running backs. And hey, good evening to Christian. Hope you're doing well. Start Cousins or go out and trade for Mahomes. Mahomes' schedule seems nice the rest of the way. And Mahomes is also heating up pretty nicely here, too. Now, I don't hate Kirk Cousins because he's been like, we like the Falcons' offense quite a bit. But I do think I would rather have Mahomes the rest of the season. If you can flip Cousins for Mahomes, just 1-for-1, I'm taking Mahomes in that deal. I'm not sure what it's going to cost you to get to Mahomes, but I'm very much open to it. And Mahomes has been looking much better these last couple of weeks here with DeAndre Hopkins now coming along, Kelsey looking better, Worthy still makes some good plays. And this offense, I think, is starting to get healthy and look pretty good. So I do like Mahomes rest of season. I'm going to hit refresh here on some of my feeds and see if I can find any more news for you guys. I will probably be doing a practice report video tomorrow. I'll have player prop video out on Saturday. And then Sunday morning, I will be going live Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. We'll check in on the Germany game and see if you guys have any more questions that need answered. But I'm pretty excited for tonight. I think we're going to get a big offensive output. This game, remember, it went to overtime earlier in the year when this one was in Cincinnati. Thursday nights, anything can happen. There's some weird stuff here. I kind of think the Bengals have a chance. It's in Baltimore, which concerns me a little bit. But this game was pretty nuts back in week, I think, 5. Let me double check that. Yeah, this game was in week 5. It was 41-38. The Ravens win in overtime. Lamar Jackson threw for 4 touchdowns, 348 yards. Joe Burrow threw for 5 touchdowns and 392 yards. I love the passing options for you. And yeah, I do like Mike tonight. Let me read you Mike's lines with T. Higgins out of the lineup. He didn't play well in that Ravens game because T. Higgins went 9 for 83 and 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase went 10 for 193 and 2 touchdowns. Gesicki only went 2 for 31 in that game. But weeks 1 and 2, when we didn't have T. Higgins, Gesicki went 4 for 18 in week 1, whatever. Week 2 against the Chiefs, though, he went 7 for 91, so 16.1 PPR points. And then the last 2 games that T. Higgins has been out, he goes 5 for 102 touchdowns. The week before, 7 for 73. So it's looking like a pretty good opportunity here for Mike. I want him in my lineup. I think I have him as a top 10 tight end this week. Let me look and see where I got him. I have him as my tight end 9. If I were to re-rank these guys, I'd probably move him up to tight end 7. So I think he's a top 7 tight end this week. Should I try to move Dowdle now that Dak is out? I mean, I'm actually kind of hopeful that with Dak out, they might actually rely on Rico a little bit more. Backup quarterbacks tend to look for those dump offs a little bit more. You also have them potentially trying to play the game a little bit slower, maybe not throwing the ball 35, 40 times and seeing what Dowdle can do with 15 to 20 touches. So I'm kind of wanting to hold on to Dowdle. I think he's a top 25 back right now. And I feel pretty comfortable with it. It depends on what you can get for him. He's coming off his best game of the year. If you can flip Dowdle for someone that you feel a lot more comfortable with, I think I'm okay with it. But I don't think it's the end of the world if you hold on to him, because I think it's very clear Dowdle's the best running back on the Cowboys roster, and I want to see him get more touches. I have him ranked as RB24 this weekend. Running backs are hot right now. They're hard to come by. If you can flip Rico for like a Ramondre or maybe a Tony, you could buy low on a Tony Pollard or Dobbins or something like that. Maybe even Tyrone Tracy. I think I'm interested in it, but I kind of like Rico Dowdle. He's been a nice player the last 4 or 5 games. And when I was looking around at it, I'm looking at Fantasy Pros here because you can filter by the last few fantasy games. From weeks 5 to 9 in a full PPR format, Rico Dowdle has been – he's had a bye week and he missed a game in there, but his average points per game in that span, he comes out to RB12. He's averaging 17.2 points per game in his last 3 games. So I like Rico quite a bit. What wide receivers do you want to trade for? Okay. Fun question. I think if you can get your hands on Nico Collins, I think that's a potential buy low. He's not going to play this weekend, so the owner might be frustrated there. I think Garrett Wilson is kind of fun right now. You can maybe try looking at Darnell Mooney and Drake London. Mooney's been really good this year. and I think London still has a lot of room to flex the muscle. I like Josh Downs and Brian Thomas Jr. if you want to get some lesser names on your list here. Otherwise, let me see. Jaden Reed's a buy low for me. I think Devonta Smith. I kind of like Jacoby Myers for cheap. Jacoby Myers is an easy name to acquire. Not a lot of people like the Raiders. I think Khalil Shakir is another name that might be easily to get in a trade. A lot of people don't trust him quite yet. Maybe Tyreek Hill. He really hasn't been much since Tua Tagovailoa returned. You could maybe get Tyreek Hill for a decent price here. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is still someone that I like buying low on. He just had a bad game last weekend. So it depends on what you're looking for and what you're trying to trade away. But those are some of the names that I like. Rest of season of these 4 receivers, which one are you benching? Neighbors, Higgins, Puka, Garrett Wilson. Well, I'm nervous on Higgins, man. It's just always something with T. Higgins. But when he's been healthy this year, he's been like a must-start player. He's been fantastic. But I think for me, if I'm assuming Higgins is healthy, I'm starting Neighbors for sure. I'm starting Wilson, and I'm starting Puka, and I would rank T. Higgins 4th out of those guys. So it's a little bit stressful, leaving a stud like that on the bench. But if you can maybe look into getting some trade offers for one of these guys and maybe moving it to the running back, I think that's interesting. I would be trading away running backs like Irving, Javonte, and Tank. Okay, so then you're probably looking for, if you can trade away, if you can get Irving and Javonte in a trade, you might be looking at like a wide receiver 2. Let me just kind of pull up some names here. And guys that you could maybe say you're trying to trade away. If you're trying to trade away just one of them, then you're looking at Josh Downs, Jacoby Myers. You can maybe buy low on George Pickens, maybe a Romeo Doubs, Jerry Jeudy type. Those are kind of the names that I'm looking at here. If you're willing to trade 2 of those guys away, then you can maybe get up to Darnell Mooney, Brian Thomas, maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba, names like that. And hey, good evening to Garrett. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. J.K. Dobbins or Chase Brown, full PPR. I mean, I think you probably got to get Chase Brown in the lineup tonight. I know it's a short week. I usually don't love Thursday night football games, but Chase Brown, I mean, they just traded for Khalil Herbert. We really don't know how much he's going to play. Maybe they give him a goal line opportunity or something like that, but they just showed us that they were willing to give him the ball a ton. So I'm going to lean Chase Brown tonight. Back in the game earlier week, I think it was week 5, Chase Brown ran the ball 12 for 46 yards. He also added 3 catches for 8 yards and a touchdown. So he did catch a touchdown, which was nice. Not a huge fantasy game, but they did give Zach Moss 9 carries in that game. So total of 21 RB carries in the game. I think Chase Brown probably going to get into that 15 to 20 carries tonight. And if he does add, 3, 4, 5 catches, good chance he scores for the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. So I'm going to lean Chase Brown. Just a much better game environment than Chargers Titans, even though I do like Dobbins this week as a running back too, but I think Chase Brown's got top 10 upside at the position. That would be a double PPR. Okay. If you're doing double PPR, then, Tank doesn't really have value in that format. So if you can move Irving for one of those, it depends if you're trying to do a 1-for-1 trade, Harris. If you're trying to do a 1-for-1 trade, I would look at Josh Downs, Jacoby Myers, maybe George Pickens, some of those names there. Maybe Romeo Doubs, Jerry Jeudy on the lower end here. You're kind of looking at wide receiver 3s for the most part. But get your final questions in here, guys. I'm going to be getting out of here shortly. I think we're all good to go for tonight. Again, I'm going to put out a Friday practice report video tomorrow. I think I'll probably go live around 4:30. I'm not quite sure yet. Can you rank those running backs rest of season in a double PPR? Yeah, we're gonna go Irving, Javonte, and Tank Bigsby. Bigsby just doesn't have a lot of juice in a full PPR, let alone a double PPR. He's not going to catch passes, especially with Travis Etienne healthy, and they also like Dearness Johnson in the passing game. So Bigsby would be the guy that I'm least excited about. They're also they're 2-7. We're looking at Mac Jones starting this week, and who knows how many games Mac Jones gets for the Jags right now. Whereas Javonte's still got a really nice PPR role for a double PPR league. And then I think Bucky Irving, man, he's been a fantastic player. He's caught in a lot of passes in the last few games. So I'm going to lean Bucky Irving over Javonte Williams just because I like the passing, upside. And Bucky Irving looks like a nice runner right now, but it's close. Bucky, Javonte, and Tank Bigsby. And then for members, I'm going to again, I'll be getting my weekly rankings updated tomorrow afternoon. If you want to double check those, I'll do another ranking update out on Saturday or Sunday morning. So check for those. Enjoy the game tonight, guys. We're going to have a good game tonight. I'm excited about it. Hopefully we get some fireworks like we did back in week number 5. But that's going to do it for me tonight. Happy Thursday, guys. Hope everyone enjoys the game tonight. And thank you so much for your time. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Got me feeling icy.